This is The Shit Take. Join me, Stellaby, and my co-host Arrow for the win as we cover everything from entertainment to current events. We hope to normalize the differing of opinions and keep an open attitude toward anyone who would like to share theirs. If you enjoy this content, make sure to like and subscribe. Now let's stoke some flames.
Spiderman No Way Home. I mean, this is encapsulating almost 20 years of storytelling, man. Like, this is something that you dream about happening. You read comics about it, video games, where it's so much easier to see in that form of medium.
Yeah.
The undertaking that went into making this movie, and it's incredible. Like, I
At the expense of other movies, namely Venom.
Oh, absolutely, man. Like, it's crazy to think that like so much went into this that is, partially taking away from other films.
Yeah.
Also, in a way, like, kind of setting them up for hopefully something more. Because in the Venom thing, I'll get back more into that in a little bit. But it's just, it was kind of a bait and switch. So here we are. This is the end of a trilogy of storytelling in more ways than one. And, the storyline that was started from Spider-Man Homecoming to Far From Home, now No Way Home.
Yeah.
Peter Parker's identity has been revealed to the world due to Mysterio's actions at the end of the movie. I mean, he is social enemy number one, pariah, public enemy, all that. And it starts off in such like a crappy lens. Like you're seeing him, dropping off his girlfriend, and people are like, "What? That's him. That's Peter Parker. That's Spider-Man." Yada yada yada. And then you see like that tunnel vision of society as it is now. It's like, oh, everyone's got their phones out. Let's get our 15 minutes of fame. Let's world star this. And some girl tries to reach out and grab Spider-Man. He's just like, hey, back off. I don't know who you are. And she says, Spider-Man hit me, everyone. Spider-Man hit me.
Yeah,
and immediately that just like really pissed me off. And I'm just like, dude, like that's how it is though. Like that's the sad truth. Like somebody would try and manipulate a situation that for their own benefit. And it's so crazy. This guy is still a kid. He's in high school, senior year, just trying to figure life out without, the superhero stuff, without the alien invasions constantly. And, he's just, now everyone knows who he is, like his most guarded secret. And it's not something that we haven't seen in a superhero film. The secret of the secret identity, it's the most guarded treasure you have. You got to protect it.
Yeah.
And it's showing that fallout in the, the heaviest way. If you divulge that information somehow, whether it's your fault or not, the public will come after you. And, your friends, family, loved ones, all those are the ones that are going to be cut in the crosshairs. And you immediately see it with their college admissions. They want to go to MIT. That's their dream school. We'll all get a place together, and girlfriend, we'll take this next step of our lives together. And not only do they not get into that school, they don't get into any of their backup schools. And it's basically like the same, like bureaucratic, like, in light of public relations, with recent events, yada, 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 we regret to inform you that your admission is not going to be accepted at this time. And it's just like, well, 2 and 2 really don't go together. So that sucks. Why would you hold me accountable for that? It just doesn't make any sense to try and like keep them out of that. So he's already mad about that. And then, the school's trying to like, oh, Peter Parker goes here, Spider-Man goes here. The teacher's, creating this trophy case of them.
Yeah.
And of course, Hannibal Buress character is just there like, no.
Mysterio's right.
Mysterio's right,
Yeah.
And he's always like that deadpan humor. I love Hannibal Buress, but it's just like, no, dude, screw you, man.
You swing through the halls if you want to.
Yeah, like, hey.
JB Smoove.
Dude, JB Smooth's funny. Oh my god. Then you got Martin Starr there, right? And he's just it's funny comedians all around.
Yeah, the movie was actually really funny. I wouldn't say excessively funny, but it was funny throughout. There was always something funny to laugh at.
It was funnier.
Which is good.
Yeah, it's a Marvel movie. It's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's quick. Spider-Man has some of the most serious storylines in comic book history, but he's also at his core, like, he's a jokester. He's fighting you. He's making puns. He's laughing, having a good time. Even on the backdrop of a serious story like this, they still presented itself in a humorous way that didn't take from the serious. It didn't. Yeah. It was a really good balance, and that's something that you don't often see, but Marvel tries to do a lot. So, I mean, I appreciated that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Even after that, when he's dealing with like the legal logistics of it all, we saw, which was in my favorite moment in the entire movie by far. Like as much as Charlie Cox back as Daredevil. That was so cool, man.
That was a good scene.
Oh, it was awesome, man. Just see, still taking the best parts of the Netflix, universe and adding that to the mainstream Marvel. And my God, did he do a good job of keeping that under wraps? And it was really funny too because like there was so much going on in the movie, so much like leaks or whatever reveals, and people forget like one of the first things that was talked about like last year or the year before that when they started filming was that somebody said that they had seen Charlie Cox on the set. And with all like the other stuff going on, I guess it kind of just like was buried underneath it. But no, honestly, like as much excitement and thrills that I popped through that a movie, that was my favorite. And yeah, seeing that, that's what Daredevil is. He's a lawyer for the super people. And then to see that brick fly through the air and him just grab it and he's like, "How did you do that?" A very good lawyer, and it was amazing. Marvel actually started launching merchandise from that one scene on Amazon already. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Man, that was really cool. He told him the truth. He's like, your legal troubles might be out of the way, but there's still a court of public opinion, and people manipulation through the media, obviously through J. Jonah Jameson's Daily Bugle and footage Mysterio leaked.
They
A
basically
lot
turned him
of
into like an Alex Jones, working out of
it
his house and stuff. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, no, it was crazy, man. Like, and I wish we would have seen more of like Jay Jonah because he was fortunately reduced to a very very sad character with that comedic effect, which again wasn't anything wrong with the laughs behind it, but the guy's a serious journalist. We could have seen more of that. But yeah, man, like Peter goes, he talks to was it the dean of admissions because he gets some information from Flash, and he's trying to talk to her, web slinging through the freeway basically, and we see that that first tremor start to shake, and we see that it's
Octavius,
right? And it's Alfred Molina. It's Dr. Otto Octavius from Spider-Man 2 from the Sam Raimi universe, and he's fighting him on the bridge there, and he is just basically out of his element. Like he's really just getting like the business handed to him.
Yeah, and another thing they really did well with this movie was highlight the technological advances between before and now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The most important showcase of that was the actual nano machines taking over the octopus arms.
Yeah, that was cool.
I mean, that's exactly what would happen. You're a relic from the past, and you're coming into the new age. You're not going to be able to stand up. It's just not going to happen. That's why Electro was so cool, because you basically give him power that wasn't around back then.
Yeah, an arc reactor.
Turn him into basically an infinite reactor. At the very beginning, whenever they first were rounding people up, I thought, man, this is happening pretty quick. Is this not going to like take precedent? Yeah. So I was wondering where they were going with it. With it happening so quickly.
Absolutely did a really good job of define that expectation, because the movie was almost 2.5 hours long, and the pacing was done very well. Like I was like, man, I don't even feel myself like being like bored or like, oh, when's it gonna end? Because it was just, there's so much going on. And whenever you see that whole like Doctor Strange is now like he's the Nick Fury of the last movie. He's the Tony Stark. He's the mentor character, and he's just like, oh, like I'm no stranger to spells myself. Sure, Peter, like I can create a instant memory, a wiper, Men in Black style spell for you. Then Peter gets in the way of himself, which he constantly does. That's the character Peter Parker. He's supposed to represent the everyman. It's like, oh, well, I want to have it both ways, when he knows that down, whether he was being real with himself or not, he knows that he can't have it both ways. That's why you're the superhero. That's why you hide behind the mask. So he's like, oh, well, my best friend should be able to know who I am. Yeah. Oh, my girlfriend should remember who I am. Oh, and my Aunt May. Oh, and well, this guy really too. It's like, no, like you're messing the spell up, and that's what causes those dimensional breaks. It's what causes those villains from Spider-Man past to show up in this mainstream Marvel universe that we have now. And he's just like, well, you gotta handle it, right? Like you gotta do it. One of the things that really kind of bugged me about the movie, I will say, was that like in those promotional materials, whether it was from the trailer or merchandise, we saw this black and gold like Peter Parker suit that was everyone's like, oh, this is gonna be the magic suit. You know what I mean? How he got the Iron Man suit from Tony Stark, he got the stealth suit from Nick Fury, and this is gonna be like the magic suit from Doctor Strange. And all it was this suit inside out.
Yeah.
Saw like the cords, and I thought that was so dumb.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, like really, that's what he's doing? Like, Doctor Strange could have whipped him up something. He gave him the little like, the gauntlet basically to like fire them to get
Yeah.
the. It was just like, man, like especially with him fighting Electro the way he did, you'd assume that like he would short circuit the suit or something.
Yeah, I guess my only like problem I had with the movie. This is really the only thing that I could think of.
I had very small gripes that were just
Yeah.
silly little things.
And that was one of them. Was Strange being used as a plot device basically to pull all these different characters into the universe, right? And then basically kicked out of the storyline.
Oh yeah,
It was kind of like
that was really dumb. Like the whole like
and I get it. It's a Spider-Man movie. I understand that, but at the end of the day, it's you're using that which is Doctor Strange, to create this whole Spider-Man story, and Strange is like almost nowhere in it. He doesn't help at all. There's no part of it that he actually helps. It's Spider-Man who ends up, giving up his own, history for the
everyone
to actually
including
work.
Strange. Yeah, including Strange. Nobody knows who he is. So again, there's nothing wrong with the movie. Fantastic, loved it.
Yeah.
But the way that the story was told was basically saying that this is a stepping stone of what's to come.
Yeah.
Because Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is where this is all going to.
Yeah. By the way, the ending of the movie where Peter's basically coming into his apartment room and he's basically starting from fresh. I like that. It's basically a way for him to completely start over. And that's cool. We'll go watch every single Spider-Man that comes out. Like, there's a reason Sony bought Spider-Man and Spider-Man alone. Like, let's not kid ourselves.
It is the highest grossing superhero franchise by far. It encapsulates everything else, dude. Like, it's ridiculous. This movie's already made over $1 billion. Like, Disney will never buy it from Sony. They can't. Like, it's a moneymaker. Sony knows what they have. Yeah, no,
it was a very good movie, though. I'll say that.
Absolutely.
And me personally, I feel like they could have introduced Toby and Andrew a little bit better. I think maybe there could have been something a little more clever than that. But for the most part, I liked it. I'm not going to say I didn't like it.
But going back to the whole taking from something to give to something else, that's where I did have a problem with it, because they took from Doctor Strange to give Ned a sling ring.
Yeah.
And him just knowing magic out of nowhere. Like, I thought that was really dumb. I thought it was really forced to basically say something where he was always the man behind the computer, you know what I mean? Like, helping him out tech-wise.
Yeah.
But when you have three, Peter Parkers, I guess technology is not something you have to worry about.
Yeah, they literally come up with cures, like, literally. The next scene.
Exactly. Like, people forget how smart Peter Parker's character is. Like, he may not be, like, one of the biggest, brainiest guys in Marvel. Like, he's not, like, Doctor Strange. I mean, he's not, like, he's not Hank Pym level. He's
in the top 5%, though. Like,
he's definitely top 5%. He's up there. He knows a lot about, like, the bio stuff, the freaking, what it means to, have to deal with these types of creatures. He's the one's coming up with ways to stop them on his own. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to think that would have those three not be able to come up with solutions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then you have like Zendaya, and don't get me wrong, I think she's a good actress. She plays like the snarky character to like dialed up to 11, but felt like character didn't really contribute much to this besides like the emotional like tie to Peter. And again, Ned having the magic thing was a little like weird, and I guess
and that really sentimental moment at the end where Andrew Garfield saves her.
Oh yeah,
they did really good callbacks to the other movies. That I'm something of a scientist myself.
Absolutely, the whole my back thing. Like it. This was a movie about callbacks, redemption, and memes. Yes, like at its core, like you can't deny that.
But in no way, shape, or form did it get in the way of the actual movie. There's one way to do callbacks in your movies, and then there's the bad way of doing it. You're not supposed to try and make fun of your own content. Like when you make fun of your own content, like. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I definitely agree. And that's why I'm glad that we're doing these two videos back to back, because it is a perfect the perfect duality. It's how to do it well and how not to do it well.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have to constantly be like, oh, Peter, what's your landlord like? Yeah, oh, this is a guy always asking for rent. But the Matrix is like, bullet time, Smith, agents, Matrix, human batteries. It's just like, my God, it's like product placement, but you are the product.
Yeah, it's nothing new. It's all just rehashing.
Absolutely, in the worst possible way.
This was something new, and it was respectful of the content that came before, right? Because they could have come, and in my opinion, the only part of that was like making fun of anything was whenever they were trying to decide which one was 1, 2, and 3, and Andrew Garfield was like, okay, I guess I'm 3. Like,
Peter 3.
Like,
and it's so crazy to think how like they rehash things because it was a callback deliberately, obviously, for the movie, but it was an elevation. Like, it made you care about these characters. It made you say, yeah, all these previous Spider-Man movies are canon now,
and they mattered.
That's what the multiverse means, because that's the thing. Like, people may have not liked the Amazing Spider-Man. I'm one of those people. I didn't like it. I have nothing against Andrew Garfield as an actor, and that's what this movie shows. It's just like, yes, dude, like the guy was good.
It's funny because, like, staring at all of them, like, side by side, the one I actually thought, like, was the better looking Spider-Man was Garfield.
Absolutely.
And then, like, one of the more important things, right, is now that the multiverse is a thing and, this has happened, what's to stop them from making another Tobey Maguire Spider-Man? What's to stop them from taking like a super serious tone and going with another Tobey Maguire Spider-Man or an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man? There's nothing stopping them anymore. That they could literally do so if they wanted to. Not that they're going to, but that's what it opens it up to, and I feel like that's really smart, right? Like, but again, you can only do that whenever you respect the previous content, because if you came at this in a super disrespectful manner, Tobey Maguire's not going to want to be a part of it. Neither is Andrew Garfield. None of the people who came back to play the villains would have wanted to be a part of it. Like, it wouldn't have happened. And so you can tell that they're being respectful because those people did end up being part of it. So,
yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's the thing. Like, you're talking about Tobey Maguire, who hasn't played Spider-Man in 14 years. He hasn't even been in a live action role since I think like 2014, 2017, somewhere around there. Talking about Andrew Garfield, who, yes, has been in roles. He's, been Oscar nominated. Looks the fucking same, but he hasn't played Peter Parker in over 7 years. And yeah, absolutely. Like, Sony was already apparently talking about like possibly an Amazing Spider-Man 3 spinning off. They want to use them more, and that's a good thing. Like, dude, like, get an actual Spider-Verse movie. And don't get me wrong, Into the Spider-Verse, the animated film, fantastic, beautiful, representation, storyline, everything. But at its core, it is not a Spider-Verse movie. It's a story of Spider-Man crossing into Miles' universe, but it's basically just an Ultimate Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Spider-Verse storyline, which was in the comics, which led to, Spider-Geddon and all that, had to deal with, multiple Spider-Man across dimensions and after one big threat. And this movie to me felt more like that because it was using, multiple Peter Parkers, not just like, oh, here I'm a Spider-Man from another dimension. So this was really cool to see. And, obviously they had to keep with the whole home in the title, or else I think it would have just been called Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, when you're showing these characters off after, 10 plus, 20 plus years, like, and they're still vibrant, they're still ready to be part of this universe, they're still wanting to act in these roles, man. Like, come on, Alfred Molina, Jamie Foxx, Thomas Hayden Church, was it Reese Ivan?
Yeah. And one of the best parts about that, right, is that means, or not that means, I'm sorry. One of the best parts about that is you can tell what makes Spider-Man is the villains. Because, I mean, going into this movie, right, we all knew Alfred Molina was going to be in it. And we all were going to see it anyways because it's Spider-Man, don't get me wrong. But I would argue that the villains throughout the years have been on par, if not some of them better than the Spider-Mans that have been portrayed. Like, you can't argue to me that Willem Dafoe is not the absolute best possible choice for Green Goblin, or a Doc Ock. Like, I mean, even Sandman, right? Like, don't get me wrong, Spider-Man 3 was a letdown for sure, but Sandman, the guy who played him, is a fine actor. He's a good actor,
Thomas Hayden Church is awesome.
Yeah, and the only thing I did not understand, right? Because assuming Venom was rushed the way it was because of this movie.
Was it was they did confirm that.
But if that's the case, why? He was in a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
What the fuck happened there?
The
I just
only
don't
thing
understand. I don't get it, man.
No, I trust me, and that was the one thing, because what I thought they were doing was gearing up like a Sinister Six movie. There was only 5 villains, you know. Arguably, if you want to count Venom, sure, that's 6, but
Yeah.
Spider-Man's one of the few superheroes that has a huge collection of rogue galleries that has all those villains,
Yeah.
but he has 3 arch nemesises, and that's not a lot of things that people can say. We saw them all in this movie, whether or not they were all used. Green Goblin, Doctor Octopus, and Venom are all the guys' nemesis. They all have equal merit and impact within the character. Yes, we saw Willem Dafoe, we saw Alfred Molina, but Tom Hardy playing Venom, anti-hero or not, is just in a post-credit scene, and we see from that post-credit scene that he's literally just getting a crash course in the MCU from this bartender.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, yada yada yada, what, a Hulk, Tony Stark, flying suits. Like, oh well, I guess we got to go to New York and talk to this Peter Parker guy, and then immediately goes back into it. So that kind of upset me because yes, he does leave a bit of the symbiote behind, and the fan theories are like, oh, if it's a hive mind like they talked about, is this Venom gonna remember, freaking Topher Grace's Venom? How is that gonna portray? Is it gonna go to New York? Latching along people along the way, and them closing off, I guess, their multiverse, sending everyone back to where it was. Obviously, we know that's not true because Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, we know that the door isn't closed. If anything, it's a revolving door. So I think it teased just enough to kind of like say, we want more. Marvel saying, I get it, but you have to wait to this next movie to see what's happening.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's good and it's bad. We know that Sony's Spider-Man verse is connecting through stuff. We already saw the trailers for Morbius that Michael Keaton is portraying the Vulture. So whether or not that has to do, whether or not that has to do with the multiverse as well, or is it just a different version of the Vulture? I want nothing more than either Tom Holland or someone portraying Spider-Man to actually appear on screen with Tom Hardy's Venom. Because if you're gonna do that and you're just gonna have like Venom symbiote take over Tom Holland and give him like the edge that he needs, because now we know that he's back to just a regular old comic accurate red and blue spider suit, which I thought was fantastic. I love the suit at the end. The perfect tease to what's to come, college age Peter. Maybe he meets the Kurt Connors of this timeline or this universe, but we definitely do need more Venom. Like that has to be said. I don't want it to be like the Flash Thompson Venom where it's just like randomly and they don't even mention Eddie Brock or he doesn't know. So it's just that's a whole lot of other things. And I love the way that they dyed Flash's hair to try and make him look more comic book accurate.
Shit.
Yeah, it's just oh my god, like his character just exists. Man. It's just bad, and I don't know, man. Like it definitely makes me want Doctor Strange to happen. I'm looking forward to it, and it's Sam Raimi directing it, so I'm sure there's going to be those call outs to it. We already have Campbell part of it, and the fallout of several Marvel movies and shows will be encapsulated in that movie. So it's definitely good.
I'm looking forward to that one a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Doctor Strange is one of the absolute coolest characters, specifically for like the live action. He's such a good character, dude. That scene where it's him like chasing Peter, trying to get the fucking box back. It's
the mirror dimension.
It's mind blowing. Like that's the kind of stuff that we want to see in movies. That's CGI and digital effects taken to the absolute peak.
Like those effects to me were good enough to warrant like at least a nomination in special effects. So I mean, I'm hopefully apparently like Disney is pushing like this for Oscar nomination season. But like man, like in my opinion, it's warranted. Like the acting was there, the writing was there, like the music too. Like my god, like the sound effects, like
Tom Holland actually had a lot of really good acting scenes in this movie.
Absolutely.
I mean, of course, with the whole Aunt May part. for sure. And
Which that was something that was kind of nitpicky because Marvel and Disney were both saying for the longest time that they didn't want to rehash an Uncle Ben type of great power, great responsibility. That's why they had him say it to Iron Man in Civil War.
yeah,
But then they literally just said, "Well, here's Aunt May saying it again," and then kill her off. Like, I guess them killing her off made sense in the grand scheme of things because everyone's gonna forget Peter. And then he goes to her grave,
Yeah.
and it's just like, well, who are you? And it's like, oh, well, I guess my own aunt would have not remembered me either, right?
right.
So I guess it's just their way of saying now
Well,
you have
and that's another part of it, right?
family ties.
Is yes, they all forget, but I mean, does that mean he's also taken out of pictures? Does that mean all they have to do is just reopen, or Jonah Jameson just opens that file and it's Mysterio saying Peter Parker is
Peter
Spider-Man?
Parker,
And it's just
yeah,
like,
right,
well,
right.
who's Peter Parker? You know what I mean? He's gonna turn around and he's gonna be like, well, let me search for this guy, and they're just gonna find him all over again.
Right?
I mean,
Like I want everyone to forget who Spider-Man is, right? No, because apparently they do know who a Spider-Man is, but just they don't know Peter Parker. And the scene at the end, which is a weird one because it shows Ned and MJ at the coffee shop. I guess they basically said that Peter's the reason they became friends, but they would have been friends anyway.
well,
Because
that's the thing is like it's not reversing time.
Person. It's not. That's the weird
he
thing,
specifically said there's no way to go back in time now. We don't have the time stone. So, I mean, my understanding is if you're not reversing time, all you're doing is forgetting that Peter Parker existed. I mean, it's not going to change time, is it? Is it basically going to treat it like Peter Parker never existed, so time would alter? No. I mean, my understanding is that everybody from that point on would just stop remembering, right?
Or it's like he never existed because you got to remember he had to drop out of school, so he would no longer be enrolled. That's why he had to take the essay, the GED test.
No, I understand that, but like,
it's weird. It's literally like, oh, you don't have like a social security number, like you don't exist, like you have to have an assumed identity now. It's really weird. That's why he had to have that.
It's very vague.
Movie Maguire's apartment.
Vague. And I'm assuming that the way the spell works is that no one would have known this entire time. Maybe it would change time itself. You know what I mean? If that's the case, is Aunt May still alive? Because why would she be dead if she never knew Spider-Man? Right?
I don't know, man.
That's the part that I'm like kind of a little bit odd on.
This movie was originally supposed to come out after Doctor Strange. It was supposed to have the multiverse fallout and that, but because they wanted to push this for holiday season, they flipped the schedule, the filming processes, and they had to like change some stuff. Doctor Strange is already confirmed to have more reshoots on the way before it comes out in March, May.
Yeah.
So when we do, apparently they're already in works of Spider-Man 4. I'm hoping that some of this stuff gets like tidied up.
Yeah, because why would Jon Favreau even be at the gravesite?
It doesn't make.
You know what I mean? He would have never met May because he never knew Peter Parker.
It doesn't make sense.
There's a lot of parts that like, and again, like I'm trying not to be too nitpicky.
We're not. No, exactly. Like what started off as honest to God little nitpicks that I found, like, oh, this shouldn't have gone that way, or oh, that's an interesting take. It became bigger plot holes, and of course, it's not like the energetics, enjoyment wearing off. It's just like, okay, get that with multiverse coming a lot of cracks. So hopefully by the time this is all cleared up, they just tidy it up a little bit. And I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, for sure. And I like just like as a wrap up, right? Like I feel like the movie itself is very good. It's a very strong movie. There's no way I could place this movie below an 8, but I do feel like with a couple of those things, like the nitpicks, a couple of those things with how the world is going to interact with Peter Parker, right? Because if no one ever remembered Peter Parker existed, and it's changing time, who's to say Peter Parker didn't just fucking die as a baby because their parents forgot he existed? You know what I mean? Just that kind of stuff, Like you're messing with time here, and then once you start messing with time, shit starts to fucking go wild. But I can't make an assumption because Ned and MJ are now still friends. Happy is visiting May's grave, which means May did die for whatever reason. I have no idea. I'm assuming it's because of the same events. And if that's the case and the same events took place, then why would some things not be consistent with Peter Parker, at least existing previous to this moment? But whatever. Those things are the reason why I can't give it above like an 8.5. Again, they're not super major.
Yeah, no, definitely. And see, the thing is, like, story holes aside, what really elevated the movie to me was not even the action, which was cool. There was a lot of really awesome, like, web slinging moments with
Oh yeah,
the poses and all that. It's just the acting encapsulated. And I don't want to say strong supporting cast because, like I said, the Ed and MJ characters were kind of just like shoehorned to fill certain roles. And again, Doctor Strange not doing more did not sit right with me, knowing what was to come. But it was just it was Maguire, Garfield, and freaking Holland really
yeah,
encapsulating everything. But one role to me did stand out even above that. It was definitely Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, like in every way. It was a rejuvenating, elevating experience to just see him perform that character. 20 years later, it was
yeah.
awesome. Don't get me wrong. As good as Andrew Garfield was, as good as Tobey Maguire was, those emotional moments, they were really solid. Enjoyed. Willem Dafoe just like I'm not gonna say he
Yeah.
carried the movie because it was definitely a team effort, but my
Oh, for
God,
sure.
his
But
Goblin just stood out so much, man.
yeah,
And it was both as Norman and the Goblin.
yeah. I mean, and it's kind of unfair if I'm being completely honest. Willem Dafoe
Oh,
is just an
absolutely.
amazing actor. So I mean, good luck
Oh,
competing.
too. Yeah,
Good luck
he did all
competing.
his own
But
stunts.
oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was that was a condition for him to return. He said, "I don't want to be a cameo. I want to have the action. I want to be able to do it."
oh, cool.
Oh, yeah, like it's crazy. Like nobody came close to his encapsulation of the movie.
That's awesome. No, yeah, Willem Dafoe, the shit takes MVP.
It was more comic accurate too, with the suit and the hood and everything. Like it was
Yeah.
badass, dude. Like it was everything that you would expect the Green Goblin to do and more. Like lure you into that false sense of security. Joking around, getting you comfortable around his character just to literally stab you in the back. And who else would stop him? But Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. And
Yeah.
I would definitely give the movie a solid 8.5, maybe into the 9 territory. Um, a lot called for it being like the best Marvel movie ever and all that. Don't get me wrong, Spider-Man is definitely the epitome of what a superhero is in the Marvel universe, but it's just like, there are things that definitely kept me from calling it perfect. Who knows, on a multiple doing again, maybe it could change. But I think that that's a fair judgment score on that is 8.5. And it's really just because of the performances, man, of the of,
Yeah,
of
no,
the
though
villains and the
that was
hero.
the
Like,
best part of the whole movie is the actors' performances. Everybody did such a great job. Even and
yeah,
even Zendaya and Ned.
yeah,
Sorry, MJ and Ned. Even MJ and Ned were really good. It's just they were what they were.
yeah,
What we were everyone came into this movie to see the two other Spider-Men and the
yeah,
villains. That's what
absolutely.
everybody came for.
I don't even.
And it's
Sorry,
fine,
I don't.
like Zendaya is cool, but I don't think anybody's actually coming to see the movie because of her.
Oh, absolutely not. And they even try to like throw more MJ at you with the whole like MJ Watson.
Yeah.
That wasn't like he's like, oh, I don't go by that name. It's like we get it. Like you're trying to say that's just like some sort of alternate universe. Mary Jane, like fans just never picked up on it. Like just let it go. Like just
Yeah.
something else with it. And I don't know. I don't know if you've seen like
Michelle
the movie.
Jones.
Yeah, like now they've they're not even hiding it anymore. I guess because the movie's been out like a few weeks. So all like the movie posters and like TV spots now are showing all three Spider-Man together. And it's just like it's here. It's what you want to see on the big screen.
I wish they wouldn't do
Come
that though.
it does tie it against. And see, like the thing is, like
Some people
even
have a
with like
hard
the
time
whole
making it to the theaters, man.
embargo,
Like me
being what it was.
personally, I wasn't able to get to the theaters until today. We had stuff
Yeah,
going on for Christmas, and
absolutely.
for something that was literally came out so close to Christmas, you'd think that they would do everything possible to not let that get out. You know what I mean? Because people are
Yeah,
busy during the holiday season; they can't just make it. And I really hate it whenever something gets spoiled. Another thing I'd like to mention: this movie did not have a lot of the spoiler moments at the end in the trailers.
yeah.
I don't know why it has to be said. Don't show the fucking ending of your movie in your fucking trailers.
One thing that they, I guess, pseudo spoiled was something that anyone with like knowledge of editing would understand. It was like whenever it's just Tom Holland swinging against like the big three villains.
Yeah.
It was really all three of them together, and I was just like, okay, well that's fine. Like they basically just wiped it out. No, definitely, man. Like even the showing that we did get to see, because I went with my roommate, had to add an extra showing that night because there was so many people there. And whenever we got there, of course, it was a big thing. They're like, oh well, this line is gonna be for this showing. Which one did you get? And we're there sitting in line. We got our popcorn and everything. And there's like, oh, I don't know if you know this, but we also have like Spider-Man cup, and we're like, oh, we didn't even see that. Like they're like, yeah, we're kind of like just putting everything out now because apparently there was like spoilers on the cup too.
Yeah.
So got in there and I was just like, oh, this is pretty cool. It doesn't look like there's that many people. And I'm just like, okay, there's like 15, 20 minutes of previews. It'll probably be like the last 5 minutes. And then of course, right before the movie starts, a flood of people just show up, and that theater was packed, my friend.
Yeah.
Like it was insane.
Ours was full today.
Yeah.
So.
It's crazy.
11:15 was our showing, so.
Yeah, like this movie, it already broke $1 billion. I think it'll. I mean, again, this is within the first month, and it hasn't even appeared in certain countries. Like, I'm sure this is gonna be. I don't know if it'll go 2 billion, but it'll probably be like second or third highest.
Inflation, man.
Yeah.
But it was very good. If this is the route they're gonna be taking, then I'm aboard. I'm aboard the train.
Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this content, consider liking the video. Also, make sure you're subscribed to be considered in our giveaways. We'll hold them routinely as our subscriber goals are met. This has been The Shit Take. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's easy, and we hope to see you next time.